2 years ago, I started this altered book as part of the 100-day project. Obviously, that's way more than 100 days ago, so I completely failed. Or did I? Because actually, I've really enjoyed working in this little book over the years, and I wouldn't have started it without starting that project. This is just full of all sorts of different bits and pieces. There's different styles as well, as I've been working within the different pages. And so today I'm going to be working on the final few pages. So if you've seen some of my videos recently, you've seen that I've been prepping some of the backgrounds. So these are the pages I have left. So I have, I think, 4. I have these ones here, and I already have the backgrounds for them, so they are half finished. Really all they need is some embellishment, maybe some text. I'm thinking it's pretty much finished, and I'm not gonna lie, I've kind of been putting off working on these final few pages just because I almost don't want this book to be finished. I mean, I do, don't get me wrong, I absolutely love having a finished chunky journal, but I've just enjoyed the process of working in this so much. And when I was thinking about what I wanted to do for these final few pages, I was kind of drawing a bit of a blank. I was a little bit uninspired. Last week's video, I made these DIY washi strips, which I have on my desk here, and I'll probably include a few of these. And this was almost me stalling because I was like, okay, I want to do some collage, but I don't want to do it directly into the book necessarily. So I made some of these, and I will definitely add some more of these strips into this book like I have done here. But other than that, I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do. And so when I'm feeling a bit unsure, something I like to do is always bring out my old journals and kind of see maybe a spark of inspiration of what I might want to create, or just, I don't know, just something that might inspire me. So I've literally pulled out this is my paint sample book that you might have seen me working on, just because I really like the style of some of these pages and how eclectic and full they are. I also have this journal here, which is also a no-sew journal that is incredibly chunky. This is my Junk Journal July from 2021, so quite a while ago now, but this page here is probably one of my favorites within this journal. I just really love the style of it. I don't know if it's the colors or the stamps. Again, maybe the way that it's all so busy, but at the same time, it doesn't feel too overwhelming. And then I think, is it on this side? It might be on the other side, actually. Another page that I did really enjoy was this one here. Again, I think it's just the color scheme that's going on, the bits of text, and how you've got the different fonts, and also the scrappy little bits of washi tape. So this is the thing, with creating these challenge journals like this, I've made a whole entire journal like this, and I almost had to make all of the other pages in order to find the ones that I did enjoy. And these are definitely ones that I keep coming back to, and so I figured I could have a few of these almost just on my desk as maybe a little bit of inspiration for myself. I also pulled out one that is from 2020, so we're really going back here, but I always look back at this little piece here. Again, maybe it's just because of the stamps and the the clusters and things like that. I've got little saved packaging here from a watercolor pan, so it's maybe something that I want to try and replicate in some of these pages. And when I was pulling out my older journals, hold on, I'm running out of space on my desk to put these. One thing I did find was this altered book, which if you've been here a while, you may remember me working on this altered book, and I had painted the cover of it, and I had taken out pages and tea dyed them and sort of prepped them with collage and things. But I'm gonna be honest, I don't really like the size of this. As you can see from my other journals I've been working on, I feel like I like a smaller size of journal. I feel like one of the reasons that I never came back to this was purely just because for me this felt like a really like huge task and a huge journal to work on. However, I don't want to let this go to waste because as you can see, like I love the tea dyeing, but there's also like some really lovely imagery within this, and I did also work on a few pages of this, which I think if you go back on my channel you'll be able to see like the process of these. But what I figured that I'm gonna do is, because this journal no longer serves me and I'm not gonna realistically come back and work in this, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take things out of this journal. I'm gonna repurpose them and I'm gonna include them in my other journals. So I'm gonna have them in my altered book, or I might use them within, oh, I've covered it now with all of the journals that I've got going on here, but like, you know, within this journal as well, and just sort of bring the pieces over into the stuff that I'm working on now, and just repurpose them almost and have them there as something to work with, and like just have this more like scrappy kind of feel. And I figured by doing that I could, you know, not let this just sit on the shelf and gather dust, because I never finished it and there's things that I want to, you know, just pull forward into new work. And so I've definitely ripped up old journals before and taken things from them, and so I figured that this one would be good to do that with as well. I even did some painting I just saw within this one. I was doing all sorts within this. So what I'm going to do is just pull out some of the things that I think might work for other pages. Now, I might even bind this into another journal, because some of this, I don't know if you can tell, like I think there's about 4 or 5 different layers of paper. So like something like this is really thick and probably isn't going to work on collage, but having this, for example, as like some tea dyed paper, I might as well reuse it. So let's go through, I'm just going to move these out of the way and pull some pieces from this. Like I might not bring everything forwards, but let's see what we can use. Like I'd made pockets and all sorts, like I'd really committed to this little journal. So, you know, things like this I can always rebind. But actually, seeing that, I kind of really like that imagery there. So let's use some of that. I'm not going to take everything, but I think really love the way that I had tea dyed this. And so let's just pull as many out as possible. I mean, I just love the way that this is all tea dyed, and so I figured like it's been sat there for years, so why not actually use it? I've no idea how I did this. I must have done this with like water or something in order to create that effect, but let's take that for my journal. Okay, these are all just tea dyed. I'll come back to those. This was the one that I really saw and thought like this is definitely something I'm gonna pull out and use, because like the image and like the tea dyeing, it's all just like it needs to be used in a journal. So this one as well will be really nice, I think, to use on a page. Again, more tea dyeing. Even stuff like this I think will be really fun as well. little, like, what are they, sort of seed packets, or like packets from the bulbs, the little artworks, like sort of vintage style. They almost look like stickers, but they're not. They're kind of shiny. Can you see? I think that was one of the challenges that I had with this paper when I was tea dyeing it or coffee staining it, was it did have a little bit of a sheen to it, so it was kind of tricky to get the coffee to kind of soak in the way that it might normally. I really love that one. I think that might be a perfect like thing for my garden journal maybe, or just as, I don't know, like the front cover of something. And I think for something like this, I definitely want to save it and have it more as a tip-in than as collage material, because I do really like this that I did, and I want to preserve it in that journal. Okay, so that is, let's take that as some blank tea dyed as well. So I'll come back to this and probably take out some more pieces of that journal, but that is what I've taken out for now. And so let's see what we can add in this little journal. So I'm gonna have to kind of make a separate pile here of just pieces that I'm gonna want for other journals, maybe just to bind as papers, and then these will be for this journal. I also just pulled out like little collage papers like that as well. I figured we could journal with that. This might be, it could be the right size actually, so I figured I would pull that out. That's going to be a tip-in. Let's do this first. So it's slightly too big, which is fine, but it's too thick to bend, so I might have to make a sacrifice and trim it maybe there. I'm going to eyeball this, so I want it a little bit smaller than the height of the altered book, so we'll go for about there. I think I really like this because of the imagery and also the like piece I'd used with the writing on it as well. I love using stuff like that. So let's see. I have to go for round about there. And I was thinking like this could be that like sort of eclectic feel of the paint sample journal by adding a few of these tip-ins. I mean, obviously the altered book itself is like really chunky now, but I just figured I could add these, and secretly it kind of gives me more space as well to work within the journal, so I can still keep adding things. Maybe that's why I'm kind of like prolonging it, but hey, if I'm having fun in the journal, then that's all that matters, right? So I'll save some bits to use in other journals, but see, like even this, how nice is this to just have some little pieces saved from the other altered book, and maybe we will split that in half, maybe there. And that's nice for like a little quote or something. So I've got like 4 little cards here. Now this is a bigger piece, so this will be interesting. Do I want to cut it that way, or do I want to cut it that way? I'm kind of thinking that way because of the quote that I have stamped on there. Okay, and then maybe that way, but we don't want to cut off any of the letters on this. round about there, but I think that might be too big. Okay, so we'll need to sacrifice some of the top and bottom of this. But that's fine, because even stuff like this I'll use within other pages as well. So something like this now is perfect for using as, you know, a place to do some writing. So I've ended up with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 pieces now. And then I've also got a few like little offcuts as well that I will use. So let's start adding some of them to this journal. So I don't want to cover up too much because we do have some of the like base collage in here already. But I think that would work quite nicely here. Actually, I'm thinking it might work nicely with the washi tape that I created. So let's glue this in here. Like, I know I'm covering up this, but this is largely blank, so we're not going to worry too much about that. And even though this is going to add more bulk to this journal, like, I think we're past the point of worrying about the bulk that's going to be added to this journal. So let's add that here. Something from this. So I'm thinking one that is maybe a little bit sparser, but that still has some detail to it. Possibly that one. See, I like that one, but it might be a bit too busy. I'm going to go with this one, but I'm going to tuck it underneath the piece of collage slightly, just so that it doesn't detract too much. So I'll go for there. And that's why I love having little washi strips like this, because it's so easy just to like add them in and have them be ready done. All I'm doing is just creating a huge mess on my desk here. I'm going to add this piece on the other page just to carry across the pink to kind of bring them together. However, you can see maybe like how thick this piece is, so I'm going to just separate some of this like unnecessary bulk from that piece, and I'm gonna add this piece on this side because it carries across the colors of the pink. And then also I just noticed as well, like the washi tape kind of goes with the green here. I think that's all I want to add for collage there, and we've got the nice imagery. What I'm gonna do is fill a blank page further back in the journal. So I know I mentioned whether to potentially like cover some of these pages up, and some of you said that, you know, kind of keep what I've done previously, as it's kind of like a bit of a progression through the journal. So I'm definitely going to keep these, but what we could do actually is where we've got like blank space here, what if I just added in maybe with just a paper clip so I can move it if I want to, but that way we're kind of bringing through some of the other pieces onto the blank pages and filling that space. And like immediately that feels a lot better to have something on the page. And maybe I could add a little bit of collage. I'm going to add a little bit. I feel like I just can't help myself if I'm not like completely happy with the page. Something I always try and do is just like see how I can like continue to work on it. So let's just add a little bit of collage to it. There we go. I think that kind of warms the page up a little bit as well, so we don't have that blank space. And this little piece of collage is always coming up, and I think I'm gonna have to put some tape over it or something, because it's bothering me every time I flip through the journal. And pages like this I don't think are necessarily that unfinished, because It's just that the composition is on the left hand side, but I could see potentially like just adding some writing, like some bold lettering with my Tombow marker. But I think maybe this is a happy medium where I'm just sort of adding to it. I'm not necessarily covering it up. Like a page like this, maybe we could do the same with something like this, which I think kind of matches the theme a little bit. Like I don't think that looks too odd actually, and I think maybe some washi tape might be perfect for this, so either some text or some pink or both, maybe a bit of both actually. So when in doubt, let's just add both of the washi tapes. I think I'll put this a little bit further down just because this here, if you can see, is further up, so hopefully I think that will blend in nicely as if like it was always there. And then maybe let's add some of this, oops, do you know, I've ripped it, but let's lean into it. Some of this script washi, which if you're wondering, that's from Note and Wish, and I think this might actually be like one of my favorite washi tapes of all time. I love using it because it's like the vintage vibes and it's such a nice color as well, I think, for using in my journals. And maybe let's add a bit at the bottom there just so that it kind of keeps it from lifting. And I think that kind of complements nicely where I've added some older art with some old art but that's slightly newer, and I don't think they detract too much from each other. I think one of the pages as well that bothers me the most in this journal is this one here, because it was my attempt at trying to be minimalist, but I don't think it really worked because there's no like clustering. It feels very flat. So I think this might be one of the pages that I definitely will want to do something to, and I'm kind of a little bit unsure what to add to it. Maybe we could just use a few of these bits even just to start it off a little bit and add some, I almost want to say like add some personality to it. Like it's so, I guess flat is the word. Like there's no dimension to it. There's no anything going on really. But I've always struggled thinking about what to do to it. Maybe we could, oh actually, what if we layered this? I do really like the imagery there though, and I'm completely aware that I've totally gone off on a tangent from the 4 pages that I'm working on for this journal, so it'll just mean that I think I'm gonna have to do some more altered book videos, which hopefully you are enjoying joining the process of. I'm really enjoying working in it, as you can tell. It's just like little bits and pieces and like details and things that I think are missing from this every time I like flick between the pages, but it's just so nice to have that like slower process with this and not feel so pressured that it like has to be finished. Like I'm just enjoying working on it. That was annoying me, so I ripped it off, but immediately like I think that looks a lot better. Like already I'm feeling like that is a lot more me, I suppose, in terms of what I could be adding to the page. Definitely want to cover up this as well, so I'm going to try and keep the essence of what the page was, but just sort of bring it forward a little bit. I think I've just been so inspired now by looking at previous work and how I can bring it all together almost and have a place where it comes together and I'm able to just have it all, I don't know, kind of like in conversation with each other almost, like having all these different pieces in this altered book. I think just because like I've worked in it for so long, it is actually nice to have that mix, I think, where, like I said, I'm not gonna alter all of the pages again. Like this I will leave as is, and you know, this as well, but just adding into the gaps I think is a nice way to finish this off. And yeah, this just definitely needed a little bit more layering and like collage and things like that. So maybe we need to add some imagery to this. I think this is looking a lot better already. Like I can just sense that I'm feeling a lot happier with it, which is like obviously the point of doing something like this. Now, yes, I'm literally pulling from just rubbish essentially. The junk journaler in me will just collect anything because I really liked this shade of green, and I don't even know how long I've had that, but I thought like I will eventually want to use this, and I think this colour goes really nicely with what we've got going on here. So like, see, like it's so subtle, but I just think that that really has its home in a little page like this where I can use this colour. In fact, let's turn that upside down just because it's got some text on it. This is how I've transformed this page with just a simple little bit of collage. I think it's definitely still reminiscent obviously of the original page with this imagery showing through, but it feels a lot more in keeping with the journal as a whole, and it's been really nice to use the bits from the older altered book as well to add to this collage. And I've just added a Morgan Harper Nichols quote here. I've just wrote it sideways rather than the usual way, and I just used a Unipin fine liner. This is in a brown, but it's in 0.5, so it's a little bit chunkier, and I've actually been really enjoying that for the way that it looks on a page. And that was inspired by the original page that we started with. Where has it gone? Here. So can you see how I've kind of been inspired by how I've laid out that page and kind of brought it forward then into this page? Let's just add this piece here really quickly, so at least I feel like I've done something to finish off those pages. But I will do another video working through these pages, and then hopefully we will officially be finished with this journal. But like I said, I'm not rushing, I'm just enjoying the process of working in it and, you know, adding to the pages slowly like this. So I hope you've enjoyed joining me for this, and I will see you in the next one.